blowout win for Los Angeles. And this one, 141-116. Luka, 27-12-5. LeBron had 31 points. DeAndre Ayton with 17 and 18 rebounds. Jalen Johnson, 13, 3 and 6, 5 of 17 from the field. This was a good one. This was a good bench night for LA. Defense, we know that's ad nauseum. We've spoken about the Lakers and their lack of great defense, but hello, things were better last night, Lou. A lot better, as a matter of fact.
They play well.
Enough for you. Okay,
well.
so what did you think?
They needed this.
Thank you, Chandler. I was about to say they needed to win. They looked like a desperate basketball team that needed to win. You know, we were talking about their defensive stance. Like, these guys were in boxes and elbows all game long. They challenged everything at the rim. They made it difficult for all of these guys. And granted, C.J. McCollum didn't play his best basketball coming off the bench, but he was aggressive. But Jalen Johnson didn't play his best basketball either, but he was aggressive. I feel like if those guys would have been more efficient, that we'd have saw a different basketball game than we did, but we didn't. Atlanta didn't play their best basketball, and I think the Lakers did everything they could to take advantage of a team that didn't play well, and they were on their second game of a back-to-back. They knew how important this game was for them going into a day off. You don't want to go into a day off down 4 straight. You know, you want to kind of feel good and start generating some momentum. And so I felt like on the back of LeBron and on the back of Luka and Ayton doing what he needed to do, I thought the Los Angeles Lakers, they played well, and they did everything they needed to do to get off that slide.
Yeah, they needed it, and they looked like the desperate team, and LeBron was awesome. Like, DeAndre Ayton was awesome without getting play calls, without asking for the ball. It's not like they were feeding DeAndre Ayton. He played within the offense, he played hard, and he had a motor last night. Like, that matters. That's all he's got to do with his size and physicality, is do exactly what he did last night and just be active and go get offensive rebounds, go get on the glass. To 18 rebounds, 17, 18. If he does this, I guarantee you the Lakers will have a much better chance winning when they have that X Factor type night and player with him. You know you're going to have a lot of volume with Luka. You know Luka's going to have the ball in his hands. He's going to score 30-plus points majority of the nights. LeBron James is still so valuable and still so solid. Other guys are going to sprinkle in some, but DeAndre Ayton, to me, is the X factor. And a night like last night just makes a huge difference, because you know what you're going to get with the other guys. But when you see DeAndre Ayton floating and acting, and you know, there's certain times I watch him and I'm like, does he even care? And then the next night I watch him, I'm like, God, this guy is an all-star type player. So this just, you could just tell. I feel like he's one of those guys you can tell right away what kind of night it's going to be for him. And last night you knew that he was going to be a factor. And look at that, 15-1 when he scores 15 plus points. Do you need to see anything else?
X factor.
Yeah.
That ain't bad. You know what's funny though, Lou, about that is because in the loss to the Kings the other night on Monday, there was a moment where LeBron James gave him sort of that death stare to DeAndre Ayton, and I do think it's fun. Sometimes you get traded shortly thereafter, but then again, he turns around and does this. So he felt it, right? He's feeling that. That's all.
I think times have changed. I think times have changed when it's come to LeBron James and his death stare, and usually what comes after that, the history awesome. Of what comes after that. But it's interesting, and to piggyback off of what Chandler said, he absolutely has to be that X factor. You know, like out of everybody else on this team, he's a former number 1 pick. So what word am I looking for? He's one of those players. He's one of those players that should be the X factor, right? Like I look at LaRavia, I look at Marcus Smart. They played well last night, but which one of these guys are going to be a consistent piece that's going to be able to give them that? And I think out of those 3 guys, it's going to be Ayton. Ayton has to be that guy. And what Chandler said as well, you just got to get it out the mud. You got to get it off the rim, or you got to just do your job the right way, screen, roll, be in the right places, and you're going to be able to average 16 to 20 points a game just by doing that by the guys that you're playing with. So I absolutely agree that Ayton is going to be that X factor. But look out for Marcus Smart and the way that he's playing, and look out for LaRavia as well, who's playing with a lot more confidence as well.
So we're about 4 shows short of just having a full-on Rich Paul segment every single day, because it's going to happen. And so on that, Dave McMenamin reported that during halftime, one of Austin Reeves' agents approached Rich Paul at half court about the recent comments that he had been making about Austin Reeves and possibly being traded. Also, LeBron had to answer questions about that same subject matter. Lou, I know we're all talking about like we're going to try to separate the two, but this is sort of the idea that we had when we said you can't separate the two. So when you saw this,
But we all on the same page, right? Like, it's okay for everybody to feel away, but then again, everybody's having the same conversation, right? So that's where it kind of gets tricky. Again, we're talking about a person who can actually swing these conversations into coming to fruition, right? He's somebody that's involved in these conversations. That's what makes it kind of weird. But at the end of the day, this is the world that we live in. Everybody has a microphone, everybody has a platform, and if you want to get your message across, or if you want to get your opinion out there, you go straight to the consumer, you go straight to the fans, and we're all allowed to do that at this point. So I don't draw a line with Rich Paul in the sand when it comes to that. Everybody has the right to say what they want. I know it can get tricky when it comes to him because he has clients and he has people involved. So if Austin Reeves' agent wants to approach him and have a conversation about how he feels about that, he's absolutely within his rights to do that. But then again, at some point, Austin Reeves' agent is going to stand in front of a camera and he's going to want to get his talking points out as well as it relates to his client. So it's a different time in sports media. It's a different time in agents and how we consume information, how we receive information. A lot of it is direct now. A lot of it comes from podcasts and players and agents and coaches and everybody having, their own individual platforms. But, here we are. This is what it is.
Yeah, and it's just uncharted territory. Like, it's never happened before, right? And it could make an awkward situation. And I told Rich this. I said, listen, I respect what you're doing. It's never been done before. But you have to realize that if I'm Austin Reeves, I'm going to feel a certain type of way about that. And he totally understands that and he gets that. And he does have a huge platform and a voice. And no one can tell him not to do that. Now, it's going to make for headlines. It's going to make for uncomfortable conversations in hallway meetings with Austin Reeves' agent or with Austin Reeves in general. And again, that's okay. But he's got every right to do that. And most agents aren't in the position or have the balls to do it. So I respect that he's doing that. All I'm saying is it might cause an awkward situation with your current teammate in the situation that they're in right now. And that's totally fine. And if I was Austin Reeves' agent, I would also approach him. I would also I'd get my guys back. And that's also okay. That's the beauty of it, that this is the world we live in now where everyone has a voice, everyone has a platform, and we have to get used to it because I don't think he's going to stop.
I don't think he's going to stop either. Just crazy.
He's not.
But yeah, no.
I can tell you as a matter of fact.
Yeah. And by the way, he shouldn't. It's great. I'm just saying, if I was Austin Reeves, I'd feel a certain way about it. No doubt about it.
100%.
And look at this. Like we just talked about AD, right? If there's anything confusing going on, I have a platform to use to say, nah, that ain't right. And so when it comes to Rich Paul, if you're asking me my opinion on what should happen, well, let me take my agent hat off, and I'm going to tell you what my opinion is about some of these scenarios. He's had this conversation about clients of his. If I was this team, I would look for this guy, I would look for that guy, and he represents some of these people. And so you can be sensitive somewhat when it's like, hey man, chill out. That's not your client. That's not your client. Don't talk about that's what's going on. But he's talking about that. He's talking about guys that he represents as well. But again, if you're asking him questions and he's on a platform and you're asking him his opinion about basketball scenarios, he has every right to give his opinion. As uncomfortable as it is, he has that right.
And think about it. The Lakers have one trade asset, and that's Austin Reeves. Like that's the only
everybody knows that
they have. And so it's not like he's wrong by saying this. And I even said that. I said it yesterday. I don't hate Jaren Jackson for Austin. Like that actually makes sense. I think it helps the Lakers defensively. It gives the other guys more freedom with the ball. Like I totally understand what he's saying. It's just the messenger is just a little awkward and strange. That's all. They got one. They got one
funny about that?
And it's Austin Reeves. So I totally understand where he's coming from.
Well, also, Jaren Jackson and his team are over in Berlin, and I was listening to the guy that follows them around, and he asked Jaren Jackson about that as well, and he didn't think, he was like, I had to double check that was real, that like Rich Paul actually said that out loud. So it's going to be interesting, I think, and I am grateful for the content. We did have T-Wolves Bucks last night.